Hello and welcome to Environmental Science Merit Badge. My name is Bobby Gavlik, and today we will be covering acid rain. So, first and foremost, what is acid rain? Essentially, what acid rain is it's when we have rainwater, sleet, or snow, hail, anything that comes out of the sky with a pH lower than 5.6. Now, bear in mind, on the pH scale, pure water is at a 7. So, if you have water that is at a pH of lower than 5.6, it is acidic. And the most common acids in acid rain are sulfuric acid and nitric acid. Now that sounds really bad. However, it is not the Wicked Witch of the West. It is not going to rain acid from the sky and melt you. However, it is going to affect other things, and we'll get to that in a minute. So essentially what happens in the acid rain process is you have SO2 and NO2, NO3, NO4 sort of going up into the atmosphere. This usually happens because of factories, because of car exhaust, and it ends up in the atmosphere. Now, when we think of the atmosphere, a lot of people think that it is purely oxygen. That is not the case. There's actually a lot going on up there. There is oxygen, however, there's also all of this stuff. There's O2, which is breathable oxygen, H2O, water vapor, this SO2, NO3, NO4, those are produced, those are those pollutants. And then there's oxygen, just regular base oxygen. That's one of those free radicals that we were talking about. Now, how does all that stuff get up there? A lot of it's been up there for a while. Things like O2 and radical oxygen, that's created from the splitting of ozone. Because remember what we had talked about earlier, that is not a stable compound. So all this stuff is up in the atmosphere, and something happens. We get some sort of energy that causes things to meld together, create new chemical substances, something like lightning. And what happens, if we follow this handy dandy chart here, is that we get trace amounts of H2SO4 as well as other acids, and they, just like a normal cloud, will form clouds, condense into rain, snow, sleet, and rain down on the environment. So like I said, it's not really a big deal for you or me, or even animals are able to shake it off pretty easily, with the exception of amphibians. Acid rain is a major issue for them as well. However, we see things like trees get destroyed from it. Trees are pulling all of their nutrients from rainwater, and in turn, this kills the trees off. So as you can see here, we have a whole forest that was affected by acid rain that is now no more. Another place that we see acid rain affect us is in oceans. So here I have a current map, and let me grab my pen. Let's see. Okay. So for this example, we'll go ahead and say that there is acid rain. Why not? We'll go off of the coast of South America. And what's going to happen is it gets caught up in this current. And some of it will go this way and loop around. And some of it will go this way and get caught up in this current and loop around. But some of it will get caught down here. And it cruises along, really just molecules of this stuff, cruising along, until it hits a dead zone. And a pretty sizable dead zone for currents is right here in the Bight of Australia. And what will happen is you can get some off of Africa too, and it'll drift down this way and get caught up in here, and then ends up in this Bight of Australia. This Bight of Australia is home to the Great Barrier Reef. And an issue that the Great Barrier Reef is dealing with right now is something called coral bleaching. Basically what's happening is these corals are really sensitive. They need precise water conditions and things like that, and these acids are actually stressing them out. When these acids stress the corals out, basically what happens is these coral polyps will vomit out their stomachs and kill themselves, and in turn die. Um, and it'll end up killing the coral. So as you can see, all this white coral is dead. And basically what's happening is because of this ocean acidification, we are seeing more and more corals perish. So how can we prevent, or how can we slow acid rain? Basically, one of the big ways that acid rain is produced is due to factories, specifically cell phones. So if we look at the average American, the statistic is about 48% of Americans will replace their phone every 2 years. So what that means is that with Americans requiring a new phone every 2 years, these companies have to start churning out cell phones. Because they're churning out these cell phones, these factories are producing all these pollutants and bringing them up into the air. So a simple thing that you can do to reduce the amount of acid rain in the environment is hold on to your cell phone for longer. Don't get a brand new phone every 2 years just because you can. Simple things like that are what we're going to be able to do to help protect the environment that we love.